let's talk a little bit about Social Security. And there are several things that we want to talk about in the area of Social Security. And the first one is that there are some radical things that are going to be changing as far as service delivery.
There are, and there's two things I want to point out today. One of them is we're going to stop issuing what are called numinants, or printouts of Social Security numbers. And then we're also going to stop issuing benefit verification letters from the local Social Security offices.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason we're doing this is because...
Is this that letter that I get once a year that says, Tom, you know, you've gotten this much?
No, that's the Social Security statement, and
okay.
hopefully if
that's
we have time,
we'll
be able to talk about that later.
Okay,
That's for people who are not getting benefits.
Okay.
What we're talking about now is the benefit verification letter for people who already
are
get
signed
benefits.
Up.
Correct.
Okay.
Whether they're getting disability or SSI or retirement or survivor's benefits.
Oh, okay.
If they need, typically it's needed, let's say if you were going to apply for a loan or a mortgage, or maybe you are applying for needs-based programs such as Medicaid or food stamps or subsidized housing or assistance with your energy costs. The providers of those needs-based programs are going to ask you for proof of income. So we issue, I would have to say, millions of these out of the local field office.
So this comes from, so if I live in the Cincinnati area, this is coming out of actually the Cincinnati area.
It is. That's one way. We have a steady stream of traffic in our 5 offices in Cincinnati of people coming in, strictly just walking in for proof of income.
Wow.
Now there's other ways to get that proof of income, and after October 1st, you are not going to be able to come into a local Social Security office anymore to request proof of income.
You're kidding?
No, after October 1st.
So what are they going to do? They're just going to sort of close down the window on you?
Well,
you say, I need proof of income, and they just go...
We are going to refer them to other sources.
Here, take this number and sit over there.
No, that's what they would get now. No, they are going to be referred...
But finally, they get to you and they serve you.
Well...
They're not going to do that.
It will be interesting to see how it shakes out. I'm not sure. Hopefully we have done.
Are you going to have you're going to have security there?
Well, let's hope not. The ideal is that we're going to have done enough education and outreach in the next couple of months so that people are going to be well aware that as of October 1st, don't come into a local Social Security office to request a benefit verification letter.
Really?
Right. So that's one of the, I'm so happy that you invited me on the show today to talk about that. The other thing effective August 1 is we are no longer going to be issuing printouts of your Social Security number. So, and...
Wait a minute. Now, I remember my youngest son, who will remain nameless, but he lost his Social Security card.
Right.
Okay. And, you know, Lord knows what happened to it.
Right.
Okay. Because he got one real young.
Right.
You know, I believe.
He probably got one when he was, he probably applied when he was in the hospital.
Probably gumming the thing.
Right.
You know, in his crib or something. But, you know, it came time for him to get his driver's license. And, you know, you have to show up with, you know, with your Social Security card in order to get a driver's license. And, I mean, it was like, you know, here the kid had finally passed. It took him like 3 times to pass his test.
That's all right. It took my daughter 3 times too.
I mean, you know, it was like, you know, you were just sitting there hoping and praying, please pass him this time, you know. You know, I was tempted to give him a $50 bill and say, here, just go in there and drop that on the
You are
kidding,
seat. Tom, right?
Yeah, of course I am. Of course I am. But you know, finally he passes this thing, and it's like, you know, oh, you know, I got my driver's license. You know, he's pumped up, you know, and he can't find his Social Security card. So we ended up going actually down here. Okay, at the
Federal Building,
and got it down there.
Okay, so did you go in and actually get a printout with his number on it? Or did you apply for a replacement Social Security card?
I think we replied for a replacement, and they gave us a letter.
Okay.
And they said, this is Tim Kaprowski, here's his
Okay.
Social Security number, blah, 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 blah. And what the other stuff that he had, he had his high school ID and stuff.
Right.
So, it's like, this is him.
Okay.
And they were fine with that.
Well, right now, we're still issuing a printout of his of the number. So if somebody in Tim's situation were to come into the office, prove that they are who they say they are,
Okay.
with a student ID or by giving information about their name, date of birth, whatever, we will give them a printout of their number.
Okay.
But effective August 1st, no more, not at all. We will never issue a Social Security printout again.
Really?
And that is because it really is not a safe and secure document. It does not have security features, unlike the Social Security card itself.
They have security features now?
There are security features with the Social Security card. That's one of the reasons you're not supposed to laminate it. It's too easy for that printout of the number to be misused or counterfeited or whatever. So effective
Really?
August
Okay.
1, you cannot get a printout of your number.
Wow.
And so what will you do? Somebody needs a replacement Social Security card. We're not going to give them a printout of their number. They will actually have to apply for a replacement Social Security card. And then they're going to have to wait about 10 days for it to come in the mail.
Holy cats.
And the issue is going to be you have to have proof of identity. For adults, that would be a driver's license or a state ID or a passport. Now, there are secondary forms of ID that we can accept as well.
Okay.
Let's say somebody got their wallet stolen and their driver's license gone. So there are other proofs that we can use. For children aren't going to have a driver's license.
No.
So we could use a doctor record, hospital record, shot record, Medicaid card.
Birth certificate?
No, I'm so glad you mentioned that because people will think, well, I'll just show you my birth certificate. We cannot use a birth certificate to get a replacement Social Security card.
Really?
Because
No, you used to.
no, you need to show it when you originally apply for a number.
Okay.
But the birth certificate only proves that you were born. It does not prove that you continue to exist. and I know that sounds funny,
Yeah,
but
it's true,
if
though.
I were to go
Yeah.
down to, I don't know, Elm Street Clinic, anybody could get a birth certificate for my son. So we cannot accept the birth certificate as proof of identity.
Wow, okay.
So we
okay.
would need some other, it could be a baptismal record, something
Okay,
like
okay.
that. A report card, we can use that, as long as it has enough identifying information.
Okay.
We will get copies of driver's licenses in the mail, copies of passports. We cannot take photocopies.
Really?
Now,
Really?
that's
Okay.
why, if I were applying for a replacement Social Security card, I would come into the office.
Yeah.
Because I would not put a driver's license, a state ID, a passport in the mail. I just wouldn't do
Holy
it.
cow,
Now,
yeah.
you can, but the point is
No,
we
you're
do.
without it for at least 10
Well,
days.
and there's no guarantee that you're going to get it back or get it back in a timely fashion.
Yeah,
Whether it's
yeah.
us, whether it's the Postal Service or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They're too important of documents to put in the mail, in my opinion.
Wow.
Unless you're willing to lose it.
Yeah.
So, we don't accept photocopies, we don't accept notarized copies. We have to see either the original document or a certified copy with a raised seal.
So in order to do this, okay, I'm still gonna have to show up at the office, right?
Yes.
I still have to show up, I still have to present my proof, but they're gonna say, okay, Tom, you're gonna have to go home and chill for 10 days
Correct.
or so, and that's probably business days.
It's issued out of Baltimore, and then it's mailed from Baltimore, because that's when our headquarters is.
Okay,
So
okay.
we tell people 10 days.
So we're talking probably about 10 days that I'm gonna have to go out and chill for 10 days
Right.
until my card shows up.
That's exactly right. So that is one major change that's going to go into effect August 1st. Again, that's more of a security thing, but it's also that we just do not have the manpower, we do not have the resources in this time of the shrinking federal budget. Tom, do you want to take a guess, how much has Social Security's budget been reduced in the last 3 years? Our budget has been reduced by $1 billion for every year of the last 3 years. Billion with a B.
And the billion is on the service side.
We just do not, there are increasing demands for services. A lot of it is because of the retiring baby boom population.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh,
or people are applying for disability and before they get to retirement age. So we are increasing demands for services at the same time that until just recently, we have been unable to hire replacements for our aging and retiring workforce. So. And
So you're losing people on both ends then.
Correct.
Okay, you got people who have basically been with the Social Security Administration for maybe 30 years
Right.
or so, who are saying, "Hey, guess what? It's time for me to grab the golden ring,
Exactly.
and get off this merry-go-round."
Right.
You've got those folks who are going out the door, and because of your budgetary constraints, you're not allowed to replace those people.
And we just recently gotten a small budget to do a small amount of hiring, but there's no way are we doing a one-for-one replacement.
Yeah,
So we are struggling with how do we provide services, and in a lot of cases, what we're trying to do is offer them on the internet.
do
Because,
online.
you know, I was hoping you would mention your website, you know, with the golf tournament,
Yeah,
if somebody wants to learn more about it, because for many people, that is the preferred way they want to do business. I want to, you know, I want to file for benefits, I want to get my benefit verification letter, I want to whatever, online in the comfort and convenience of my own home.
So, but still, there's certain things that you can't do online.
That's true.
You can't do the replacement card online.
That-
You have to
right.
show up.
Correct.
Okay, but for the benefits thing, that where you show what your income is.
Correct.
Through your Social Security, and that's the one that's going to change in October.
Correct, October 1.
Okay, that's the one that's going to change in October. I can do that online.
You can do that online. So there's a couple of ways to do it. First of all, what I'm going to recommend to anybody who is getting benefits right now, when you get your annual cost of living adjustment,
Which is, when does that happen?
that happens at the end of the year typically. Once
Okay.
we know
Okay.
what the cost of living adjustment is going to be,
Okay.
we are going to send you out a notice telling you what your benefit amount is going to be in the new year.
Okay,
So for 2014, that would have come at the end of 2013.
okay,
We also send out a 1099 form for tax purposes,
okay.
basically summarizing the benefits that you got for the year. Save those forms. Put them in a safe place,
Okay.
so that if you are applying for a loan or a mortgage, or you need to show proof of income, you have that COLA notice, you have your 1099. So that's the first way I'm going to suggest. That's the
Now,
first
that's
thing.
going to continue. That isn't something that's going to be discontinued,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
All right, so hold on to those, put them in a safe
Okay.
place so you have them. The other way you'll be able to get that benefit verification letter is by calling the 800 number. Our
Okay.
800 number is 1-800-772-1213, and you can,
Hold on, say that again.
okay, 1-800-772-1213.
Okay.
Now, we
okay.
do have live teleservice representatives who are available 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
You know what I always tell people, Sue? When they call Social Security, they'll call me and they'll say, "Oh, I got to get this." I say, "You know, you need to call Social Security, and you know what you need to do is you make yourself a nice cup of coffee, go to the bathroom, and dial the phone, and be prepared to wait a while."
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because,
put her on speaker. And
be ready to multitask.
And yeah, bring your newspaper, you know,
Well,
or a book.
I called today because this afternoon, I wanted to see how long the wait was, and the wait was 55 minutes.
Oh,
But then I was
what
also.
time did you call?
It was later this afternoon.
Okay.
Maybe 3 o'clock, 4-ish.
Yeah, they do tell you that
Right.
ahead of time.
They do.
don't
They tell you how long the wait is. The other thing that they offered, the recording said was, if you want us to give you a call back, then, you know, we can do that. So that's an option as well.
No.
So now, you can request the benefit verification letter either or through our live teleservice representative. We also have automated services
Okay.
available
Okay.
24 hours a day, where
Okay.
you will also be able to request a benefit verification letter.
Okay.
And then you'll have to wait for it to arrive in the mail. and you cannot have it sent to a third party. So let's say
And it has to come to you.
it has to come to you.
And then it has to come to you with the address that's on record.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly,
okay.
yes.
So I can't call up and say, this is Joe Smith. Send me my records.
Correct.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's the other way.
Okay,
Now, that's
okay.
available for children and adults. Regardless of what kind of benefits you're getting, you can request it over the phone.
Okay.
And then
and certainly a guardian can request.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
And then the third option is to create what's called a My Social Security account. This is an option that's available.
Is this sort of like a Facebook kind of thing?
I wouldn't call it a face. No, I would. It's more like an account that you would create with your financial institution or your bank or something.
Okay. You get a password and stuff?
You do. You get a password and a
okay.
username, but you are able to instantly print out a benefit verification letter once you have created this My Social Security account.
So this is one of the ways around the 10 days.
Correct. And this is instantly available once you create the My Social Security account.